Okay, so have you ever felt that little whisper inside? The voice that maybe tells you you're a little bit better than you actually are?
Mm-hmm. Or maybe the one that finds excuses.
Exactly. Finds clever excuses when things get tough, shifts the blame. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into Ryan Holiday's book, Ego is the Enemy. And his argument is basically that this internal adversary, it's the root of so many
Yeah,
problems.
whether you're aiming high or you're already successful.
Or even when you're facing failure, it hits all stages.
Right. And it's key to get his definition of ego straight. It's not just, clinical egomania. He calls it an unhealthy belief in our own importance. It's
Yeah.
arrogance. It's that self-centered
Yeah, it's
ambition.
a petulant child inside, almost.
Kind of, yeah. Demanding its own way, twisting how you see things. It can turn healthy confidence into, well, recklessness.
And it really is a universal message, isn't it? This book isn't just for a select few.
Not at all.
It's for anyone out there with ambition, with talent, or just potential. It doesn't matter where you are on the journey. It helps make sense of why sometimes getting what you want doesn't actually make you feel better.
Or why it's so hard to keep what you've achieved.
Yeah.
And, modern culture really pours fuel on this fire, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Social media, constant validation.
It just amplifies it. It's so easy now to posture to perform success instead of actually earning it.
Confusing the symptoms like swagger with the real thing.
Exactly. That external noise makes it harder to listen to, that inner wisdom.
So our mission today is to unpack how this ego thing undermines us at every stage.
Aspiration, success, failure.
Right. And what the book suggests we can actually do about it. How to build humility, discipline, resilience instead.
So let's get into it. What does this mean for you?
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Aspiration. You're just starting out full of ambition. Ego can be the sort of invisible tripwire, right? Derailing you before you even get going.
100%. And one of the first traps Holiday points out is the talk, talk, talk syndrome.
Ah, yes. Where talking about it feels like doing it.
Precisely. He gives the example of Upton Sinclair, who wrote a book like he'd already won the election for governor of California.
Before the election even happened.
Yeah, titled One, Governor of California and How I Ended Poverty, detailing policies he had enacted for an office he didn't have.
Wow, that's bold.
Or Emily Gould, the writer, struggling with her novel because, as she admitted, she was spending a lot of time on the internet talking about writing.
It's so relatable, though, isn't it? It's way easier to talk the talk, to perform online, than to do the actual quiet, hard work.
And the book points out research showing our minds can actually confuse talking about progress with making progress. It depletes the energy you need for action.
Gives you that false sense of, oh, I'm already doing it.
Exactly. Which is why, especially early on, silence can be incredibly powerful. Holiday calls it the respite of the confident and the strong.
Hmm.
Think about it. Many truly impactful people
Mm-hmm.
just work quietly
Hmm.
in the corner, turning ideas into reality without needing constant applause.
That quiet action connects to another really crucial point, the to be or to do dilemma.
Ah, John Boyd's famous fork in the road.
Right. He'd ask his proteges, do you want to be somebody? Chase the titles, the recognition, get into the club, or do you want to do something? To actually make a difference, stay true to your purpose.
And it's tricky because society, our jobs, even our own commitments, they often pull us towards being somebody impressive rather than doing the real work.
It's easy to confuse them. Holiday notes, having authority is not the same as being an authority.
So true. Boyd himself chose to stay a ghetto colonel, turned down promotions to keep focusing on the work he felt mattered.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What are you really chasing? Titles or impact?
And related to that is the need to always be a student, even when you think you've arrived.
Like the Kirk Hammett story, joining Metallica, his absolute dream band.
Yeah. And what does he do? Immediately finds a teacher, Joe Satriani, to work on his fundamentals.
That's humility. But ego resists that, right? Once you've made it, ego tells you, you know it all. You don't need to learn anymore.
Which Holiday calls our most dangerous vice, the pretense of knowledge. The second you think you know everything, you stop growing. That's the ego ceiling. Deferring to a master like Hammett did forces that studious self-assessment, or Frank Shamrock's plus-minus equal system.
Always learning from someone better.
Teaching someone who knows less.
And challenging someone at your level.
Right. It's a constant ego-checking commitment to getting better.
Okay, now for a really challenging one. Don't be passionate.
Yeah, that flies in the face of most advice, doesn't it? Follow your passion.
Totally. But the book argues that pure, unbridled enthusiasm, what it calls zeal, can actually be a weakness. It can mask a lack of discipline, a lack of realism.
Think about the contrast Holiday draws. Eleanor Roosevelt had purpose and reason, not just raw passion.
Okay.
Compare that with, say, the intense zeal behind the Iraq War under Bush, or Robert Falcon Scott's Pole Mania that ended in disaster.
Mm.
Even the segue, huge passion, but they overlooked basic realities.
It's about control. John Wooden, the legendary basketball coach, had this famously dispassionate approach. Focus on control, consistency, just doing your job.
Exactly. Purpose, unlike passion, de-emphasizes the I. It's about something bigger than your own feelings.
So it's not about not caring, but about grounding that care in realism.
Right. Realism taking small, consistent steps. That's often way more effective than just having a huge, passionate vision you can't execute. Above all, not too much zeal.
Okay, another strategy for this aspiring phase. The canvas strategy.
Based on the Roman Antiambulo, the guy who cleared the path for his patron.
So it's about serving, making things easier for others.
Yes. Think of Benjamin Franklin writing anonymous letters, letting his brother get the credit while he learned the ropes. Or Bill Belichick analyzing game film for free, doing the grunt work in obscurity for years.
They were working on someone else's canvas.
Exactly. Building skills, reputation, connections, all without letting ego demand the spotlight.
The lesson being, be lesser, do more. Help others, take the unglamorous tasks. It builds incredible value long term.
Which requires immense restraint, and that leads to the next point. Restrain yourself.
The Jackie Robinson story here is just unbelievable.
Isn't it? Branch Rickey's single most important question wasn't about his skill, but do you have the guts not to fight back?
The amount of abuse, the slights, the attacks he endured without reacting, while other star players were spitting on fans.
It wasn't weakness. It was strategic, disciplined strength, calculated restraint.
And the lesson for us, your path, whatever it is, will have those slights, dismissals, little FUs, as Holiday puts it.
And your ego will scream. It'll demand you fight back, defend your honor.
But the advice is brutal. Do nothing. Take it. Eat it until you're sick. Endure it. Quietly brush it off and work harder.
It's incredibly hard. But Robinson showed the power of it. He only started asserting himself after his place was undeniable.
Restraint is a superpower, especially early on.
Finally, in this Aspire section, the need to get out of your own head.
The internal monologue trap, like Holden Caulfield, just stuck inside, ruminating.
Or General George McClellan in the Civil War. So caught up in his own genius plans, so busy overthinking that he barely acted. Constantly overestimating the enemy because he was lost in his own head.
Right. It's like being tuned into station KFKD, as Holiday calls it. That endless loop of self-praise or self-criticism.
Always performing for this imaginary audience instead of just dealing with what's real.
So what's the antidote?
Curb the flights of fancy. General George C. Marshall refusing to keep a diary during World War II.
Why?
He didn't want to be tempted to write for history, to perform for future readers, and have it maybe warp his actual decisions in the moment.
Wow. That takes discipline.
It does. Living clearly and presently takes courage. Stop the internal drama. Engage with reality.
Okay, so that's the aspiring stage. Let's shift gears. You've made it. You've found success. Now what?
Now the air gets thinner, as they say, and new ego traps emerge. Success, ironically, can make ego even more dangerous. It often shortens your reign.
Starting with the danger of pride. Even early pride.
Yeah, like young Ben Franklin strutting around in his new clothes, feeling pretty pleased with himself.
And then Cotton Mather tells him, stoop, stoop, right before he bangs his head on a low beam.
Exactly. A literal lesson. Pride, even when based on real achievements, clouds your judgment. It makes you less open to learning, less sharp.
Holiday even calls it fraud if you're not still doing the work.
Right. John D. Rockefeller apparently used to ask himself every night, are you going to be a fool? Are you going to let this money puff you up? He actively fought against that pride.
That self-awareness is key, isn't it? Asking, what am I missing? What would someone more humble see right now?
Absolutely, which leads straight into the next point. Work, work, work. Success doesn't mean you stop.
Like Edgar Degas struggling with poetry and being told it's not with ideas you make verse, it's with words. Meaning, with the actual work.
Or Henry Ford, you can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. Ego loves the planning, the big ideas.
The fun stuff.
Yeah. But success is built and maintained through the grind. Think of Bill Clinton and his obsessive note card system, or Darwin working for decades in relative obscurity on evolution.
Fox, say Fauci's. Do it if you're going to do it.
Materiam superabat opus. The workmanship surpasses the material. It's about the consistent effort, delaying that gratification ego craves.
And even with success, maybe especially with success, you have to always stay a student.
Right. Take Genghis Khan. We think barbarian, right?
Hmm.
But Holiday paints him as a perpetual student.
How so?
He relentlessly learned from the cultures he conquered. Siege warfare techniques, numbering systems, administrative practices. He saw value everywhere and wasn't too proud to adopt it.
It reminds me of John Wheeler's island of knowledge idea.
Explain that.
The bigger your island of knowledge gets, the longer the shoreline of your ignorance becomes. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
That's brilliant. And Wynton Marsalis, the jazz musician, said something similar. Humility engenders learning because it beats back the arrogance that puts blinders on.
Ego wants to put those blinders on, tell you figured it out.
But you have to fight that. If you're not still learning, you're already dying, as the saying goes. You have to consciously choose to stay a student.
Another pitfall of success: don't tell yourself a story.
The seductive power of narrative. Bill Walsh turning the 49ers around, worst to first.
An incredible story.
But he hated the genius label. He refused to buy into a grand narrative about himself.
Instead, he focused on his standard of performance. Tiny details. How players tucked in their shirts, how they ran drills precisely.
His philosophy was basically focus obsessively on the process, and the score takes care of itself. Don't get lost in the story about the success.
Because telling yourself, I knew it all along, or I'm a genius, that leads to arrogance, right?
Absolutely, and complacency. The 49ers themselves slipped up after their first Super Bowl because they started believing their own hype.
It's better to stay grounded, like how Google started, or Paul Graham's advice to focus on deceptively small things. Don't let the story get bigger than the work.
And as success builds, you have to ask, what's important to you? Really important.
Like the contrast between Grant and Sherman after the Civil War.
Yeah, Grant chased the presidency, ended up failing politically, went bankrupt. Sherman actively avoided politics, retired content, lived a fulfilling life focused on what mattered to him.
It's that trap Holiday mentions. We're never happy with what we have. We want what others have too. Ego keeps us comparing, chasing external validation.
Instead of finding what Seneca called euthymia, that inner tranquility, knowing your own path and sticking to it without getting distracted by everyone else's.
It's not about beating the other person.
It's about being what you are and being as good as possible at it. But that requires knowing yourself, setting priorities.
And life demands trade-offs. But ego hates trade-offs. It wants it all.
Which can lead to the final stage of success-related ego problems: entitlement, control, and paranoia.
Like Xerxes whipping the sea.
Exactly. The sheer absurdity of it. Threatening a mountain. It's a perfect example of wildly overestimating your own power and control.
Success can feel like validation for everything, even your flaws. Holiday calls it the strongest poison, Caesar's laurel crown.
It breeds hubris, this addiction to control, and then paranoia.
Like Ty Warner, the Beanie Babies guy, thinking he could literally put his brand on anything, even manure, and make it sell.
Or Nixon. Those Oval Office tapes are a chilling look at how paranoia consumed him at the absolute height of power.
So the takeaway is constantly check yourself. Remind yourself of your limits.
Yes, because ego, ironically, often creates the enemies and the persecution it fears through its own desperate need for control.
Okay, so we've covered aspiring, we've covered success. Now, failure. It's inevitable.
It is. And ego plays a huge role here, too, often making failure worse and blocking our recovery.
But resilience is possible. Look at Katharine Graham.
Incredible story. Suddenly thrust into leading the Washington Post after her husband's suicide, feeling totally unprepared, insecure.
And then facing just everything. A skeptical board, the Pentagon Papers fight, Nixon's threats, takeover attempts, a brutal strike.
Relentless challenges. But she showed this quiet fortitude, this perseverance. She didn't have this massive ego that needed defending. She just did the work.
And the results were astounding. Pulitzer Prize, Buffett's mentorship, the Post becoming hugely successful.
Her lack of ego, her humility in the face of feeling inadequate, allowed her to learn, adapt, and endure without self-pity.
It highlights a key point. Failure always arrives uninvited, but through our ego, far too many of us allow it to stick around. We wallow.
Which connects perfectly to the idea of alive time or dead time.
Malcolm X in prison.
Exactly. He could have just served his time passively, dead time. Instead, he transformed himself.
Yeah.
Read constantly, copied the entire dictionary by hand. He made it a lifetime.
Robert Greene's concept, right? Every moment, even in bad circumstances, is a choice. Are you just waiting, or are you actively learning, using the time?
Think of Francis Scott Key writing the national anthem while trapped on a British ship during a battle. Or Viktor Frankl developing logotherapy in concentration camps. Choosing a live time.
So no matter the prison, literal or metaphorical, the call is to cast down your bucket where you are. Find the opportunity within the setback. Don't let ego's stubbornness make it worse.
And sometimes you have to accept that the effort is enough.
Like Belisarius, the Roman general.
Yeah. Saved Rome multiple times, achieved incredible victories, but was constantly suspected, unappreciated, even stripped of his wealth by the emperor. And yet, he didn't complain.
Why not?
Because for him, doing his duty, making the effort to the best of his ability, that was the point. That was enough. The external rewards, the recognition, they were secondary and largely out of his control anyway.
That's huge for anyone creating something or doing any job, really. You control the effort, the input, the outcome, the reception. Less so.
John Wooden defined success not by wins, but as peace of mind, knowing you made the effort to do your best. The less your self-worth is tied to outcomes you can't control, the more resilient you are.
Failure can also bring what Holiday calls Fight Club moments.
Rock bottom. Like J.K. Rowling before Harry Potter, Charlie Parker, Lyndon Johnson early in his career. Moments where everything falls apart.
Like the movie Fight Club itself, this idea of self-inflicted demolition to break out of a stupor.
Kind of. Or the Greek idea of katabasis, the descent into the underworld that brings back knowledge. These moments, painful as they are, can force essential change. They strip away the ego's illusions.
Hemingway's line, "The world breaks everyone, and afterward many are strong at the broken places. But those that will not break it, kills."
Exactly. The ego wants to resist breaking, wants to deny reality, think Lance Armstrong endlessly denying, but sometimes facing the break is the only way to heal stronger.
Which means sometimes you have to draw the line.
Unlike John DeLorean, spectacular rise, then spectacular failure with his car company, ending in that desperate drug deal. He just kept digging deeper.
Making it worse and worse.
Compare that to Steve Jobs getting fired from Apple. Devastating.
Yeah.
Sure, he fought it.
Yeah.
But then he stopped digging. He drew a line. He went and started NXT and Pixar. Learned from it.
Alexander Hamilton's advice: have the courage to make a full stop. Recognize when your actions, driven by ego, are only making things worse.
Sometimes the bravest move is to stop, accept the loss, and change course.
Because the real failure isn't the setback itself, it's abandoning your principles or refusing to learn.
And throughout recovery, it's crucial to maintain your own scorecard.
Like the Patriots drafting Tom Brady super late.
Yeah, 6th round. Huge success story, right?
Yeah.
But the Patriots front office reportedly remained disappointed in themselves for not seeing his potential earlier, for misjudging his intangibles.
That seems harsh.
But it wasn't about Brady. It was about their standards. Scott Pioli keeping a photo of a failed draft pick on his desk. It wasn't about dwelling on failure. It was a reminder to stay humble, stay critical, keep aiming higher according to their own measures.
Warren Buffett's inner versus external scorecard.
Exactly. Are you measuring yourself by your own potential and values? Inner or by public opinion awards, what you can get away with external? Resilience comes from that inner scorecard.
Judging yourself by your best, not just by whether you won or lost in the eyes of others.
Finally, in dealing with failure, setbacks, even attacks, the advice is perhaps the hardest. Always love.
William Randolph Hearst trying to destroy Citizen Kane.
A perfect example of hate backfiring. He went to absurd lengths, hadn't even seen the film, and his campaign arguably just drew more attention to it, the Streisand effect, basically.
No, that bitterness, that hate. It consumes the hater, doesn't it? It doesn't really achieve its goal.
It serves the wounded ego, that's all. Contrast that with someone like Frederick Douglass saying, "They cannot degrade Frederick Douglass. The soul that is within me no man can degrade."
Or Martin Luther King Jr. preaching that hate is a cancer.
The challenge when you're wronged or face injustice is immense. Ego screams for revenge, for bitterness. But the higher path, the more resilient path, is to let it go. Maybe even find a way towards understanding or, yes, love.
Orson Welles kept making great films. Hearst was consumed by his feud.
Exactly. Love, or at least non-hate, frees you.
So we've journeyed through aspiration, success, and failure, seeing how ego messes with us at every step. It really is, as MLK said, a kind of civil war inside us.
It is, and the big takeaway is that ego isn't something you conquer once. It's like dust. Holiday says. It settles every day. You have to keep sweeping.
Constant vigilance, constant self-examination. It's not easy work.
No, it requires real honesty.
Yeah.
Ruthless honesty sometimes.
But the goal here isn't just about becoming more successful professionally, is it?
No, I think the deeper goal is about being better people, being happier people, being balanced people.
Content people, humble, selfless people.
Right. And often that personal refinement, that taming of the ego, is what actually leads to more sustainable and meaningful success, not the other way around.
So we've laid out the problem, shared the examples.
And now the choice really falls to you, the listener. You've heard how ego operates. Every single day, you're going to find yourself in one of these phases, aspiring, succeeding, or failing. Sometimes all three in different areas of life.
And in each one, that battle with ego will be there.
So the final question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Confronted with ego's whispers or its shouts, what kind of person will you choose to be?